Hello, you beautiful people. Welcome back to episode number 11. It's the start of a brand new season, the second season for West Ham. We're going to open up with a game against Burnley. But let's talk you through how last season ended and what we've done this season. So, last season we had 2 games left and they were pretty fun actually. Burnley, something very, very weird decided to happen. So David De Gea got injured, but it was okay. You know, it was 15 minutes left. Alphonse Areola came in to play the last 15, and in the 89th minute he got injured. So yeah, we had two goalkeepers injured in the same game. So unsurprisingly, we would lose 2-1 against City. We held on though from the earliest moments. A goal from Alan Cresswell in the 16th minute. I've written on my notes a couple of things that happened. So, one of the big ones, for us at least, is we got Manager of the Year. 2023-24 Manager of the Year award. Very, very happy with that. Big old Joey Quinn. Not actually me, by the way. I'm not Joey Quinn. In terms of how the season ended, so we finished 3rd place. Had we have beaten Manchester City in that final game, we'd have actually finished 2nd. Ended up finishing in 3rd on a little bit higher goal difference to Man United. Didn't really matter. Tottenham, ourselves, Man United, Manchester City and Liverpool all get Champions League football. Villa and Arsenal are in the Europa League. Chelsea in the Europa Conference League. As for Arsenal, they sacked Arteta after finishing 7th and brought in Diego Simeone. At the bottom of the table, Luton, as we already knew, got relegated, as did Sheffield United. But so did Wolves. So that's a pretty big thing. Wolves relegated down to the Championship. So it's certainly not something you wanna ignore. So maybe we've signed a few players from Wolves. Pretty good team. Players on a cheap. There was a last little thing here before we get into the transfers. Very glad that doesn't give away anything. We are looking, I'm hoping it maybe said it somewhere around here. Yeah, we are looking for possibly a new stadium, an 82,000 seater stadium. London Stadium, of course, has struggled a bit. It's obviously rent. We don't own the stadium. We bought it out about 6 years ago. I'm going to say 6-7 years ago. But yeah, it's not been great for us. Not much fan interaction because of how big of a stadium it is. So they're looking to build our own stadium. Of course, we've done very well with finances. And you see, towards the end of the transfer window, still have 100 million in balance within the top 4. And our wages to turnover rate was actually 2nd from bottom in the... Please don't pause. Oh no! Fuck's sake. I refuse to edit. 2nd lowest wages turnover ratio. Sheffield United were the bottom. So I think we spent something like £130 million on wages and got like about £450 million in our return. So it's actually extremely good. So let's talk. As you can see, guys, this is the team. Let's talk through the transfers. Oh, one last one. We are trying to bring in Johnny Quinn because came through Tranmere, born in Liverpool, where of course I'm from, and he sounds like Joey Quinn. That's the entire reason. He's obviously not going to be very good. He's been released by my favourite team, Tranmere. Is that really the best picture you can get at Prenton Park? A picture of not even our seats? Really? You couldn't get a picture of the grass. It's not like there's we're not such a small club. I can Google right now Prenton Park and get 53 better pictures of that. Hell, even use the one from when we were playing like Watford and United and we had no pitch. So let's talk about transfers. Let's talk about out. Lucas Fabianski went back to Poland to Rakow. He played his last ever game for us and his only league game for us. in that 2-1 loss where he'd get a 7.10 rating. Pretty decent. Michael Antonio would leave on a free as well. If I can find him. I can't type. Jesus. To be fair, I'm sat at a very awkward angle. No, nobody's actually offered him a contract. He's under bids from Ipswich, which, fair enough. He could head to Ipswich. Obviously, a little bit of a cult legend, but he's, 3 seasons where he got 10 goals in the league. He's never really been so good that he needs to play. Pablo Fornals would go on a free to Hellas Verona. Very good player. I almost got money for him. It didn't quite work out. And Nathan Trott was released. So they're all the players we got out on fees. In terms of loan deals, Andy Irving continues to go on loan to random countries over in Austria. It's where he loves. He went back to Austria Klagenfurt after being signed for $1.5 million. Didn't make a single appearance. Already making an appearance for Sturm Graz where he got 7.3 rating. Fair enough. Andy Irving went on loan to Sturm Graz. Christian Heggie went on loan to Kilmarnock. Solid enough goalkeeper. He's fine going off to Scotland. But now let's get into the big ones. Ben Johnson has gone on loan to Bologna. He's already maybe seen exactly why. He's a very good player, someone I'm a big fan of. I want him to just go off and get some more official playing time. Kind of burden of Eden's 24 years old now. He needs to start getting constant playing time because he hasn't really. He's constantly been a periphery figure for us. Want him to be a starter and maybe begin to develop a little bit better. And now let's go into the rest of the sales. So, Aaron Cresswell. This was a signing I wasn't all too happy about, but I do think there's realism in it. This and another signing, I'll explain the realisms too. So, Aaron Cresswell to Al Gharafa. He had a very good season for us last year. 34 years old. Has been a stalwart for West Ham over the last decade. I think it's fair enough that, he goes off and he makes his own, he gets some good money, 34 grand, going to play in a new country. I think it's at least somewhat realistic. You look like Jordan Henderson to El Atifaki, obviously a bit of a bigger known player, but still, those sorts of things where you've seen it before, even, Chris Basham. Who's the guy who's playing in the MLS now? Billy Sharp going to the MLS. It does happen. And that's the same with the next sale. Danny Ings to Getafe. 32 years old, injury problems, and wasn't wanted by us. It made no sense for him to go to another Premier League club. Let's be honest here. What Premier League club would spend £4 million on a 32-year-old who's injury prone? Because every team has a higher budget than £4 million for their lead striker. And the ones that would maybe have to go for someone like Danny Ings will be able to sign better players. Does that make sense? Like, they've either got a striker ready, they've got more money to buy a better player, or they've got a bigger scouting network. So, Getafe signed Danny Ings, obviously neither striker, as Mason Greenwood went back to Man United. I think it's realistic enough. Maybe you guys can complain, but when you've got people like Aaron Ramsey and Ross Barkley going to Nice, you've got, what's his name? Andy Carroll playing at Rennes. Definitely does happen. Alphonse Areola, we were finally able to sell him for £6.5 million to Fiorentina. He was here for 2 seasons, including a loan deal, so 3 seasons altogether, and barely ever played for us. Of course, it started in real life, but we had David De Gea, so £6.5 million, he heads to Fiorentina. Pretty realistic in my opinion. I could have sworn he did not start at PSG, but well. Louis Tsao has gone to Al-Qadis. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Al-Qadsia. 22 years old, young Brazilian player, absolutely the type of centre-back teams in Saudi Arabia will be looking at. to maybe develop more of an overall great squad. Not just a big name on high wages. They've signed a young, talented centre back who's clearly got a lot of potential, but he had no spot for us. Had a decent time in the Championship, but wasn't too amazing. He can't really pass. His mentals aren't all there. So yeah, I didn't see any spot for him. We already have a very talented group in our central defenders. There's no space for Louis Tsao last season. There's definitely not this season. And Al Ali would pick up 2. So 4 players have gone to Saudi Arabia. 2 of them to Al Ali. The first, Tilo Kekra, another centre back, very, very talented. But for £30 million, I feel like there's not much better business you can do. He's now getting paid 350 grand a week. And yeah, for me at least, I don't think there is a better time to sell him. 27 years old, was only somewhat playing for us last season. Obviously had a bit more game time towards the end of the season, but still was never really a key player. The whole reason we gave him those games was so that we could get a big sale. And lastly, Luca Paqueta would also head to Al Ali for £40 million. See, he's getting paid exorbitant wages. He missed the penalty, and I kind of held that against him. He's a very, very talented player, but I just could not stand him. He was on good wages. We got £40 million for him. Altogether, we've made £100 million on sales, and I didn't want a player who I didn't trust. Last season, he missed so many penalties. 7 penalties taken, 4 scored. That's not including, of course, the big one in the semi-finals. And yeah, I just couldn't even look at him. So of course we bought Patson Daka and Scott McTominay for a combined £44.5 million. No way we weren't going to bring these 2 back, so key to our seasons. Alex Smithies joined as our third choice goalkeeper. With the losses of Fabianski and Areola, we needed to bring someone in just to cover up that third spot. Smithies is in, but who's our other second goalkeeper? David De Gea's there. He has not been sold, so who else? But first, we signed Ryan Aitnori. So you can see, we really want to sell Emerson, refused to take a wage cut, and was just overall really annoying. So Wolves are relegated. I wanted a really solid left back. Aitnori popped up, and I really liked him. Scouts aren't a big fan of him. They see him as a fringe player. I somewhat disagree. I think at 23 years old, he's still got a lot of development. If it doesn't work out, I do have faith in Emerson. Yeah, I really like Ryan Aitnori. I wish I could have kept Cresswell, but it was kind of one or the other. It's either Aitnori or Cresswell, because Emerson wasn't going. And in my opinion, the only unrealistic signing of this is Joao Mario in for 37 million. So last season, he joined Manchester City from Porto in January for £43 million, where he would make 3 substitution appearances altogether, 2 in the Cups, 1 in the league. Literally never got a single start, and so we signed him the very next season for £6 million cheaper. Completely unrealistic. No way that Manchester City would ever do something like that. But when an opportunity slaps you in the face, you kind of have to take it. As the old saying goes, don't look a gift horse in the mouth. And I've never dealt with horses, but I've heard stories, and yeah, I wouldn't do anything really to agitate a horse. Anything else of importance is over here, and there is actually a couple. So for £40 million, we signed Anatoly Trubin from Benfica. Huge signing. So we joined Benfica last season from Shakhtar. We're halfway through the season. We'll play 13 games altogether, concede a very good ratings, and we snapped him up straight away for £40 million, seeing his potential. He doesn't necessarily have to come in and be a number 1 starter, but 23 years old, we could have a goalkeeper here for the next decade if he performs to the levels I think he can at 6'6". I mean, he's got 11 penalties taken, 12 technique, very good handling, passing. And I feel like Trubin could be exactly the type of goalkeeper we need to really develop our squad as a bit more possession based. And the last big signing we made was Anel Ahmedovic. I really struggle with that last name. Yeah, it is Odzic. Ahmed Odzic. Signed from Sheffield United, who of course also got relegated last season for £7.5 million. He had a pretty solid season, 6.77 average rating at 24 years old for a relegation team. Really good. I think he could be a great player to have. Again, as a squad player, not on much wages, kind of a replacement to Tilo Kehrer as a 4th-3 centre-back. And I'm just a lot happier having him in the squad than Tilo Kehrer. Probably because I think he's more suited to the role of 4th-3 centre-back. Kehrer wants to be more than that. So it leaves our squad looking like this as we head into the game against Burnley. Anatoly Trubin starts in goal as the sweeper keeper. That's going to be his job, as we are planning to play out of the defence a bit more. We're also planning to overlap, which is why we focus so much in on these wing backs. Soufal, Emerson, Cresswell, Johnson are all solid players, but they should not be starting for a Champions League quality team. So yeah, we tried to really boost our squad up and improve these wide areas as best as we could. To Tebow, Aguirre, Alvarez, Prowse all continue to start, as did Bowen and McTominay. But Marcus Edwards is going to come in as our new starting left winger, and Tammy Abraham is going to now lead the lines as a pressing forward. The plan out of possession stays the same, high pressing, trying to get stuck in. No, we don't have get stuck in on. Trying to just basically really be in their faces, cause problems. As with this, it's all about overlap, and we're no longer doing those low crosses we used to do. So before kicking into this game, I do want to ask the question of the day, which is going to be something I'm going to be a little bit more consistent on. And I'm going to ask, what is your greatest ever signing on Football Manager? I have a couple. One of my favourites was back in FM20 or 19, the 2003-2004 database. I signed Zlatan Ibrahimovic to Manchester City, because I was doing a City, like, could City be great without the money? Signed Zlatan, and we would go on to beat Barcelona in the Champions League quarter-finals in the second leg, thanks to like 4 goals from Zlatan. Very happy with that. The other one was I signed Lionel Messi to an Arsenal save, again about like FM17. Played him as an enganche in January, signed him for like 20-30 million. Oh, it was incredible. None was realistic, but then the other ones were like I signed Russian Hepburn Murphy or something to Oldham. He was amazing. There was another striker, I can't remember his name, I signed. Oh, that guy was amazing. I might go back and try and find that save. Really fun. And it's also, we're doing a similar exact save as McTominay nearly scores past Burnley. That is the plan after this West Ham save finishes, which will be probably in the next month or so, just before the new year kicks off. Is João Mario debut goal near worked. I'll explain what that is going to be. It is a Hall of Fame save, and I'm going to use the one I did last year to kind of get you guys excited for it. Anyway, let's talk about this game as we're 37 minutes in nearly. Not much has happened, but here's João Mario on that right hand side, swings it in. Abraham wins the header, Muric saves, and McTominay couldn't steer that one towards goal. So yes, we haven't strengthened our attack. We've actually lost 2 of our backup strikers. The plan is that the likes of Kudish, Edwards and Abraham are going to step up now and be bigger names for this squad. Kudish, of course, was great last season. I believe in Edwards to be a lot better than he was, but he did have sparks, and Tammy Abraham absolutely needs to reinvent himself if he's to see the squad. We had a couple offers for Abraham. I felt it unrealistic to sell him to Saudi Arabia, having only signed him 6 months earlier. But I'm not going to say no to him if next season he's still not performing. Absolutely won't get rid of him. As well, Prowse fans like Nordy, nearly a debut goal, but great save by Muric. There was no reason for that to be as good as it was. Maybe I should have said Muric. I did look at James Trafford as well as possible goalkeeping options, but went for Trubin just because I think he's one of the best keepers I've seen. Jean-Claire Todibo forces a great save out of Anatoly Trubin there from that corner kick. Bowen now on the right hand side looks for Edson Alvarez, bounces away. Gagliardini clears on his first Chad Bowen. He just has like off for a throw in. Yeah, I think it might be time to make some changes. I can see our XG is doing pretty well, but we aren't putting the pressure on like we should be. So Marcus Edwards off, Ben Rama in, and Daka is going to lead the line. Yet again, Abraham unable to really perform the way he should be. But before that substitution, Edwards drives forward. Good save again, Muric. Ward-Prowse dispossessed. And yeah, I focused in on just, we can't basically rechange this entire squad over the course of one transfer window. This team is going to look very different by the time we're finished here. But for right now, I'm trying to just sign young players in key positions so that I don't need to replace them again. Does that make sense? Like, there's going to be a point I'm going to need to replace like McTominay and Ward-Prowse because of their age. But I'm hoping that some of the players I sign now, they can stay for a long time. So I've got to make a couple more changes. Souček and Kudish are on. As this squad, we are still just not quite getting that goal. Maybe the offense does need to be improved. We have one registration spot available. Maybe it needs to happen as with not long left. But still not quite at the races. So Souček, boss midfielder, and signing from, I was going to bring Hayden Hackney on. I'm not going to go for him just yet. Soufal is going to come back into the squad here for these last 5 minutes. Just one goal. Well, we draw 0-0 to open the season. The goal from the management was top half finish. I think we're good enough to at least stay in and around the top 6. But that's not good enough if it's how it's going to go. A 0-0 draw at Turf Moor. And maybe I was a bit too happy with our attack. That is not great one bit. But that will do it all for today. I just went through how things went. Manchester City, by the way, did win the Champions League last year. They defeated PSG, I believe. 2-1 in the finals. A double from Alan Brau Haaland. I didn't actually check who was the top goal scorer, etc. But I do know that Ben Johnson won Young Player of Europa League season. So we will be back around towards the end of January, because I don't want to just skip through the entire season. I want to probably come back for the Southampton and Everton games. I think that could be fun, or maybe Everton Brighton. I think Southampton, Everton, so we get a glimpse at the 3 newly promoted teams. So the 2 newly promoted teams with, who was the other one? Leicester, all the way down here. But hey, we get a look at newly promoted Southampton. We get to face Everton. And then, I think that's pretty fun. 2 games, we get an idea of where this team's at. Because last season finished similarly with a 3-3 draw to Crystal Palace, if you remember correctly. That fake goal by Jordan Ayew, I'll never forget it. So hopefully it's a sign of similar things to come, but I really did think we will be a lot better than we were today. And maybe the squad's going to be changed by the time you see us all in a few weeks' time. But thank you all for watching. I'll see you all again soon. Have a good night and bye bye.